All right, we're starting chapter 7, and this is where the class changes from being mostly about algebra to being about trigonometry. In 7.1, we're just going to talk about angles. And everybody knows what an angle is, but we're going to talk about some terminology and talk about putting angles in standard position and talk about the quadrants. So first up, if you just have a random angle, that's going to be, something that looks like this. Probably help if I drew it where you can see it. But we've got two sides to the angle, and we designate one side to be the terminal side and one side to be the initial side. So if I made this the initial and this one up here the terminal side, we think of the angle as going from the initial side to the terminal side. And when we put an angle in standard position, what it means is we put the initial side along the positive x-axis, so like across here. And then the terminal side would be, somewhere else. And we think of this as being positive if we're going counterclockwise. So this angle, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. It looks like it might be a 60-degree angle, roughly. And so we'd call that positive 60 degrees. And as we go around the plane, the angles increase. So we get 90 degrees straight up, 180 degrees this direction, and 270 going down. Now, this is the standard way of writing out the angles with 0, 90, 180, and 270. It's a little different than with directional stuff. If you talk about direction and headings and bearings and that kind of thing, north is considered 0 degrees there. But this is the standard way to do it when you're talking about mathematics and analytic trig, is to start with 0 degrees being sticking out on this side over here. All right, let's look at some examples. I want to plot several angles in standard position. So 100 degrees, if we drew that angle, it would be here. So this would be 100 degrees. It would just be 10 degrees past 90. 195 degrees, this would be the initial side. The terminal side would be over here 15 degrees past 180. And let's see, negative 30 degrees, that would be, initial side would be here, and the terminal side would be down here. Because it's negative 30 degrees, so we're going to be going down instead of up. Now, I'll mention this, although this term won't officially come up until another section or two from now. But on these, we have what we call the reference angles. The reference angle always goes between the terminal side and the x-axis. So on these, this reference angle over here, on this first one, would be 80 degrees. Reference angle here would be 15 degrees. And this reference angle would be 30 degrees. Reference angles are always positive because it's like you're measuring a distance. In this case, an angular distance between the terminal side and the x-axis. And you go to whichever half of the x-axis is closer. All right. Now, we also divide the plane into 4 quadrants. We start here. This is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. And typically these are labeled using Roman numerals. Now, that's what you should expect to see, but if I ask you a question, you say quadrant 2 and you write it as Q2, that's fine too. But most of the time books use Roman numerals for them. All right,